Arroyya Tech. Introducing the serviceable innovative ideas.
Welcome back again. I'm your facilitator, Ridwan Ajimabi. So in this video, we'll be talking about the course outline. Firstly, give thanks to our creator for making it possible. So which our course outline, which is categorized into two parts: the theoretical part and the practical part, which deals with the coupling. That's where we'll be getting our hands dirty. So however, in the theoretical part, we'll be talking about the insight of how our modified rechargeable lamps will work. So under the theoretical part, we have the introduction, the identification and use of training materials, and the pre-coupling. So in the introduction, we'll be talking about the history of torchlights in Nigeria, while the identification and the uses of training materials will deal with each of the materials we will be using to build our modified rechargeable lamp, and the use of each of the materials, where each of them will function, and also the pre-coupling. That's what we're talking about, the circuit diagram of the laydown circuits, the laydown parts in which how each of the materials or the components we'll be using, how it will be connected to each other. So let's dive in. So the introduction, we're talking about the history of torchlights in Nigeria per se, and the benefits of the modified rechargeable torch over the popular one in our present time here now in year 2023. So the history of torchlight in Nigeria. So since my childhood, the torchlights, or should I say the olden torchlights I've known of, is Atupa. That's in Yoruba language. So I would like you to give me a comment on what is being called in other region parts in Nigeria, or maybe if you are part of my listener from another country. So this Atupa, and the only component, or should I say the materials to build this, is just the tin, can tin, or should I tin? I'm talking about the can tin, and also the wool and kerosene. That's all. Although there's another one, I think that one is a glass one, a bottle made with glass, used for the medicine for children then, that we use then. So it works with wool. So this kind of Atupa, the advantage is that you have to resource for another kerosene if this one if the kerosene is finished, and also it causes carbon monoxide and few parts of it. The other one apart, so although then Nigeria's now gradually update to the one we call lanta. I think it's lanta we do call it here. So if you have another name, so please let me know in our community group. So lanta, I have a lot of experience with this lanta, because that's one of the items we are told to bring during my secondary school when I live in boarding school then. So I have a lot of knowledge about this kind of lanta, because we are to on it each night. Our seniors will be beating us then. So the reason why it's better than Atupa is that you have the advantage of increasing the light by uh turning it up right to the right hand side where the wood will be coming out gradually. So it, and also it reduces the flame, unlike the Atupa here. And also it also use kerosene and the shade, so if it got dirty you have to clean it and also forth. The next one is the non-rechargeable torchlight. I hope I have those who have experience with this one at the left hand side here. So it's kind of the torchlight that uses non-rechargeable battery, the kind of Tiger battery and co. So this the advantage of this is that you have to buy another battery if the battery you bought has been drained. So that's the advantages, the major advantages of this kind of non-rechargeable torchlight. So the next one is the rechargeable torchlight with black battery. I don't know, most of you will have come across this kind of torchlight in which if it got spoiled you see that the color of the battery there are black. And so this some of the major advantages of this kind of torchlight is that the battery, the charging unit of this battery still bring out AC ripples. In terms of, if one thing about DC electricity and AC electricity is that AC electricity can shock you, meaning that if you mistakenly put your hand in AC electricity it can shock you, or should I say it can shock you, but this electricity can't shock you. Although if if the voltage of that DC electricity is higher, at a higher level it can shock you, but at this kind of level we are, it can't shock you at all. So AC electricity, DC electricity are the voltage that we use to charge batteries, rechargeable batteries per se, rechargeable battery per se. So in this kind of uh, battery here, it uses higher voltage to charge, meaning that for you to get higher voltage you have to include AC ripples have to be included, because it can't be 100% DC for this battery to charge very well. So if you have the experience of maybe the switch of this kind of torchlight got spoiled and you are conversant with joining the wire together for it uh, to power. So if you mistakenly touch that wire, exposed wire, and put this charger into electricity, you will see that it will you will be electrocuted, meaning that the electricity will shock you. So that's one of and also you may have experienced that if you mistakenly on this kind of torch and you put it into electricity for charging, you see that you hear a little sound saying a little spark. You hear the sound, meaning that the torch has gotten spoiled because of the AC ripples in it. So the next kind of rechargeable torchlights we have come across in our recent time here is this kind of rechargeable torchlights without protection, meaning that the battery used in this kind of torchlights are one of the best top battery used anywhere in the world. Even the giant electric motor company, that's Tesla, owned by the world richest man in the world, uses lithium battery to power his car. But lithium battery yeah, how will I put it? Lithium battery uh, needs to be taken care of, needs to be pampered, in the sense that if you want to enjoy a lithium battery to the highest minimum. Firstly, you must not expose it to heat. Another thing is that you have to it has to be protected, in the sense that if it has reached its maximum full voltage, you have to shut it down without letting it charge, overcharging. And also you have to not let you have you mustn't drain the battery to the lowest form, because if this kind of batteries are drained totally, it may not come up again, unlike this kind of uh, torchlight, in which you can drain it and recharge it, because the we are using higher voltage to charge it, and it has a little AC ripples. So this kind of torch has its own charger itself, like the blue color here, you can see the charger there, and like the red color, the orange color, what's the kind of color here, that has its own charger by the left hand side here. So that's the so you can charge. So unlike this one, that unlike this kind of rechargeable torchlight with black battery, where you have to use AC cord, it's kind of this cord that uses that is being used in radios, like that. So the next kind of rechargeable torchlight is the ArroyyaangGlow modified torchlight. In this kind of torchlight, we'll be using the same kind of battery being used by this, but with what, with protection, and also with protection, giving you the advantages of using this kind of torch for a long period of times, within the range of 1 year, 2 years, within the range of 1 to 2 years, depending on the kind of battery you are using, the kind of lithium battery you'll be using. So that will be all for uh, the torch, the history of torchlight in Nigeria. Although torch, in this kind of rechargeable torchlight without protection, I noticed one thing, because few years ago I chatted with a marketer regarding selling a rechargeable bulb. So the marketer gave me two types of rechargeable bulbs of the same product, but one is costlier than others. So I asked, why is it so? He told me that the one that is costlier has a advantage of it has a warranty, in which if it got spoiled, you have the chance of replacing it, and also the components used in building it are much better than the less costlier rechargeable bulbs. So, and also the less costlier rechargeable bulbs has some components which can be harmful to people. So I now ask, why you now saying that? He said that because that's how Nigeria asks for the lesser one without caring for because it will be lesser. So one thing I noticed is that Nigerians are those who kind of spoil Nigeria, and also because people request for less quality materials. So that's why I can conclude that that's why this kind of torch was popular in our country. So that's all for the history of torchlight to the future for torchlight in Nigeria. I will see you in the next class. Bye for now.